Hi everyone. I'm just gonna double check here, make sure all of our stream settings are good, and that hopefully you hear one of our chapters. And it looks like audio is still good. So I think this is for the first chapter. It's just a simple sketch for the beginning of the book, which is where we meet our characters, and they're kind of in this confined space. So we did like a really quick sketch of this confined space that we find our characters begin in. The next one is got some sandworm action.
Yes.
So it was kind of cool to see someone else talk about the sandworms and things, or design the sandworms, you know.
See how they interpret it and how they see it.
Yeah, so it was cool because this is a scene when they arrive on Mythe and someone sacrifices themselves to get further in the story. So, by the way, there may be spoilers. So if you don't want any spoilers, turn it off now. Be done. But yes, or just turn off the audio and you can just look at the video. So we got some sandworms going on there. I think this next one's actually one of my favorite ones.
Mine too.
It's just a really cool illustration. There is a race on Mythe called the Morai, and they're kind of like our elvish-like race. They're very wise, and they're kind of in the Forgotten Dunes, but there's a scene where our characters meet this race for the first time. And I thought it was just a really cool, quick sketch of kind of this ominous new being that we're meeting on Mythe.
The first visual that we've had of this character.
Yes. So it's cool because this will obviously, these designs will also influence us and how we design them inside of the game. Yeah. This next one is a little abstract, but there's a thing in the novel called The Void, and it's created around the city where Phoenix grows up. So this is just kind of a rendition of The Void being created around Gareth. Not Gareth, around Gareth. Gareth is the city, Gareth is the artist. This is actually at the very end of Act 2, the birth of our heroine, Phoenix.
Yeah.
So we've got Amy and Avi cradling the little baby Phoenix, so that was a good one. The next one is kind of an abstract flower. There's a scene in the beginning of Act 3 where Phoenix brings this flower to life, and it's kind of a special flower, and so he kind of designed a flower of that for us. The next one also is another one of my favorites. This is one of the stone golems in the Mercurial Mountains. So I think when people hear the word stone golem, you think big, bulky, rocky, that kind of stuff. And I wanted to do a golem that was not so traditional in that sense. And so I kind of gave him some inspiration pieces, and he kind of came up with this. And I really loved it because these guys are big. They're 16, 18 feet high, and their primary purpose is to protect the Mercurial Mountains, which is a very special place in our world. So you'll find these guys hiding out in the mountains and in the mist and things like that. But
very anxious to design these guys.
Yes, I think Haley is ready to jump in and start sculpting and molding our golem. So I really thought that was a good one. The next one's also a creature. This one is an Orby.
Yes, I'm very excited to do these ones as well.
Yeah, so what's the story behind the Orby, Haley?
The Orby is a student's actually design when we worked with a school in New York, and we had students submit designs. They had to come up with creatures that could be in our game, and they came up with a backstory, and they had to do drawings of it, and we got about close to 100 submissions from students, and the apixal group went through all of them, read the stories, figured out which ones we liked, and this guy is the Orby, and it's actually the winner. So Amanda, is that her name?
Yes.
Amanda was the creator of the Orby, and her prize is that it's actually going to be created into the game and the novel. So I'll be designing these guys as well.
Yeah, so lots of work, yeah?
Yes.
But this actually, I posted this to one of my personal accounts. This image actually had quite a lot of positive feedback. People really liked it. It's cute, it's fluffy, and people were like, oh, is it an enemy? Is it a friend? And it's kind of a mix. It's one of those creatures where, depending on how you interact with it, if you are mean to them, yes, they're going to kick your butt. But if you are nice to them, they actually may lead you around. But they're nocturnal, so they've got these glowing orb-like things between their ears. And so I think it'll be a really beautiful visual when it's night in the desert and you kind of see these things kind of jumping around. So, an Orby. The next one actually is Enkidu's floating observatory, which Enkidu is one of my favorite characters in the novel. He's kind of this crazy old man. And so Phoenix encounters him in the game and in the novel, and he kind of lives on this floating island in the middle of the desert in this beautiful observatory. And so this is kind of a rendition of that, so I'd love that. This next one actually is an environmental scene. There's 3 magical monuments that you get to play in the game, and also this one is the one that's mentioned in the book, and this one's called Evermore. So it's part of the larger dune desert area, but this is kind of a special place. There's lots of ruins, and so Phoenix has to journey there to overcome a couple different creatures and also to acquire an eye, which will help her magic abilities as she gets ready to face the White Witch. So Evermore, and this is actually the level we're designing for the demo right now. I actually shouldn't say demo because it's the game. For the first part of the playable chunk of the game is actually going to be Evermore, so really good to see that. We have another scene of sandworms kind of like jumping through and this kind of stuff. So there's another scene, I think this is from Act 3, when she encounters another batch of sandworms. This next one is actually Amy looking in a mirror for the first time. So this is kind of another significant part in one of our chapters in Act 1. I won't spoil it too much, but just, it's the first time she's seen herself in quite a while, so it's definitely important. This is kind of an abstract one near the end as the 2 witches go up against each other. So Phoenix Dawn and the Rise of the Witch, the title's kind of a double entendre. It kind of means, obviously, it's the rise of Phoenix as a witch because she's our heroine, but it also is the rise of the evil witch, Zuri, also known as the White Witch. And so they obviously have an epic battle at the end of the novel. So this is kind of leading to that. Without spoiling anything, I mean, obviously, we can't have Phoenix die at the end of the book. But does the White Witch die? I don't know. Exactly. But this is actually for our epilogue. And this is just a quick scene of Phoenix and Enkidu on a hover bike type thing. And they are taking off into the sunset to begin something very special. So, which you'll also find out later down the road. This next one is Avi and Amy, and Avi is explaining to Amy, Avi is Phoenix's dad, Amy is Phoenix's mom, but showing her an eye for the first time and how they work and how souls are trapped in physical objects and things like that. So this is a little quick sketch of him showing her that. This one is Twigs, which is another character in our game, and he accidentally breaks an eye, which is, I think, kind of a pivotal part for him, and so this is just a illustration of this soul thing kind of going through him as he breaks this eye. This is Avi on a stage. Avi's a doctor, and so this is how Act 2 begins with him presenting some of his technological discoveries. So that's going to begin Act 2. This is a fun image. This is Earth and the life bridges and the new worlds, which will all be explained in Act 2, but it's kind of a interesting image, kind of spacey image with things seeming to go wrong. What could that be? This is the, what do you call it? Transformation of Zuri to the White Witch, and so it's just kind of her waking up and actually becoming something completely different. This next one is Avi and Apollyon, and so Apollyon is a very special place in our book. Apollyon is a special hell-like place that these spiritual beings go if they disobey their owners, or if you're sent there for some other. But the reason you're mostly go to Apollyon is because you disobeyed something. But basically the difference from Apollyon to maybe a typical hell-like scenario is that Apollyon is your own version. So whatever your biggest fears are and that kind of stuff, it is the world that you have been cast into for
your worst nightmare.
It is your worst nightmare that you live in, and so he has a dream about this place called Apollyon in this image. This is actually kind of the birth of one of our main characters, Lazarus, and so Lazarus starts off as human being, but is then his soul is then moved into this one of the sandworms on Mythe, and obviously things go horribly wrong and all this kind of stuff, but it's the very beginning of the birth of the worm Lazarus. This is actually the first night on Mythe after they arrive on Mythe, kind of camping out, figuring out where they're going to go, keeping their ears and eyes open for creatures and things like that here in the world. And so those, I actually believe, wrap up our little quick chapter sketches. So like I said, these are just small things that he did in the time, but really cool way to kind of start off a chapter, I think, of something visual. So
I love his unique style.
Yeah,
I think it's
you definitely look through
but
these.
It's very interesting and intriguing.
Yeah, you can definitely tell it's done by the same person, and like I said, they give just enough detail to be, know what they are, but they also leave out enough detail where it's interesting and you can kind of take it on from your own. So the next ones are act chapters. So this is Act 1.
These are very exciting.
Yeah, these are, like I said, these are a little bit more detailed. They've colored them in. So this is kind of, we'll have Act 1 written on here somewhere. But one of the other characters in our novel is AP12, who is an automated robot. So this is Amy and AP12. And that's kind of, this is actually probably one of the first images that you'll see inside of the book. So the next one is the cover for Act 2, which is the father. And so this one actually I really like a lot too. Also got a lot of positive feedback online. This is Amy and Avi overlooking the Mercurial Mountains the first morning that they're on Mythe. So I thought it was a really beautiful image. And then the act cover for Act 3, which might look familiar, is Lazarus and Phoenix showing off. So one of the most popular images for Phoenix Dawn is the worm and her. At the time, I had her have a wand, but we not going with the wand thing. So this is kind of a more updated one. But I loved what Gareth did with the eyes, kind of these glowing orbs. It's just a very creepy image, and it's actually probably one of my favorites. So, and then the book cover. So. Basically, what we have here is Zuri, the White Witch. So you can see her face there on the left, and so we've got to put the text on it and stuff, but a very beautiful image looking in. He added some subtle blurring to it. It was just really kind of exciting, and I think hopefully it'll be an interesting cover.
Yes.
That if you were to walk by and see something like that, like, what is that book about?
I think that was one of the most important things we were thinking about with the artwork, is how important a book cover actually is, because so many people, me included, judge a book by its cover. They'll walk around, and if you don't like the cover,
Sorry, I think it's those transitions that always get me. I think now that we've got audio now, so. But yeah, so I think Gareth did a really fantastic job.
Yes.
Excited to have him work with us. He's off to, I think, another game studio to do his own stuff. But you can check out more of his work on Instagram, Instagram.com/Spudonkey. SPUDONKEY. Instagram.com/Spudonkey. But really very professional, wonderful guy to work with. So yeah, so what else? So hopefully you enjoy the art. I think, it's going to be really interesting to see when we start formatting the book, how these kind of play and what it makes it look like. What are we up to next week? So we got the holiday weekend.
Yep.
But we work today.
Yeah.
We always work.
'Cause you're a slave driver.
And Saturday and Sunday we'll take off, and then Monday, what do we got on the menu for next week?
I'm finishing up the modeling from Moto. So Monday I'll be able to begin the sculpting part of the Moto. So I'm looking forward to that, getting into some details and how to sculpt and see how that really plays in with, compared to ZBrush and what I was used to and learning in ZBrush and what it is compared to Moto. So I'm excited to see that change.
Yep, so then I'm sure Jose will continue doing stuff in Mari.
Yep.
I'm still working on the first menu screen, and I'm happy with it so far. It's looking good. I mean, it's got the engine, the heart, I think, is there. We'll have to go back and tweak it up, obviously. But yeah, so work continues. And what else? What? I just feel like there's so much going on that it's like hard to even pick stuff. It's like got the game, we've got the novel. We're learning new applications. So it's been really fun and really exciting, and we're doing our hardest to get a playable demo by the time the novel launches. So that's kind of like our internal timeline. It's just really important we get something. I want to play the game, and I'm tired.
Exactly.
I'm tired of waiting for it. So it's like if I'm tired of waiting for it, I know everyone else is.
Yes.
So hopefully that's kind of the goal. We've got. I put it in our little timer. We've got 56 days. And what we just want to be able to show is a cool world, beginnings of the inventory system, beginnings of battling things and that kind of stuff. So still a lot of stuff that has to happen, but I really want a demo. I want to play it, and I know everyone else does. So we're working hard for that.
Pushing hard, long days. They go by so fast.
They do go by really fast, really fast.
I think that's the hardest part. I mean, you're learning so much, and it feels like the day just started and it's already done.
Yes.
Oh,
also,
dear.
you look at the clock and oh my God, what happened to the time?
Yep, exactly.
So it's been a busy week, and then just heads up, I will post this on social media and that kind of stuff, but we're going to switch our these live feeds to Wednesdays moving forward. We were just kind of thinking about it. It's like there's a lot of holidays that kind of fall on Fridays and Mondays or over the weekends and things like that. So we want to make sure that we're available for people, So we're going to switch it to Wednesday. So this upcoming Wednesday will be our first Wednesday broadcast. So we'll update the website and that kind of stuff and let you know. So
Wednesdays at 5 still?
Wednesdays at 5 o'clock Mountain Standard Time. Absolutely. And then if you can't make it live, we'll always archive these videos for later viewing. So, well, was that it?
I think so.
All right. Well, a pleasure, a treasure, a joy
Yes.
we cannot measure. It's always fun to sit and just get you updated on everything that's going on in our world. And we march towards the game and the novel, and we'll see how it goes. So hopefully you'll like it. All right, everyone. So we'll see you on Wednesday for our next live show. And because we're moving into Wednesdays, Jose will be able to join us.
Yep. More people here. It's
Yes.
gonna be awesome.
So you can look at another face instead of just our face.
Being tired of this, I'm sure.
Yes. All right, everyone.
Happy 4th of July,
Happy 4th of July for everyone based in the U.S. And we will see you next week.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye.